Hello and welcome. Have you ever noticed how some ing words in English just feel a little weird? They look like verbs, but they don't always act like them. Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the biggest keys to sounding truly fluent. Getting the hang of this will totally change the way you speak. So, let's get into it.
So let's start with a quick question. Take a look at these three words: reading, swimming, and cooking. Now, on the surface, they all look like actions, right? They're things you do. But what if I told you that in many sentences, they're not treated as actions, but as things? That's the secret we're going to unlock today.
And here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll properly meet this strange little hybrid word, this verb noun. Then we'll see how it works in the wild, in real sentences. After that, we'll tackle the most common mistakes that pretty much everyone makes. And finally, we'll show you how to use all this to make your English just flow. Okay, part one. It's time to meet the verb noun. Now, I know that sounds kind of complicated, like some technical grammar term, but I promise you, the idea behind it is actually super simple once you see it.
And here it is. This is the official name, a gerund. All it is really is a verb that we've put an ing on the end of so it can pretend to be a noun. Think of it this way. It's not describing an action happening right now. It's naming the action itself as an idea, a hobby, or a concept.
This example makes it all so clear. In that first sentence, writes is the action. It's what she does. Simple verb. But look at the second one. Writing is her passion. Here, writing isn't what she's doing at this moment. It's the name of the activity. It's the thing that is her passion. It's become the subject of the sentence. See that switch? It's gone from a verb to a noun.
And the good news is, making them is the easy part. You know, for most verbs, you just slap an ing on the end. If it ends in an E like write, you drop that E first. For short words like run, you just double that last letter. And for those few verbs that end in IE, you switch it to a Y. That's it. Just a few simple spelling rules.
So, now we know what a gerund is and how to spell it. Let's get to the fun stuff in section 2 and see how they actually work in real conversations. This is where the theory becomes practice.
Basically, a gerund has three main jobs it can do in a sentence. It can be the subject, the star of the show. It can be the object, which receives the action from another verb, or, and this is a big one, it can come right after a preposition. Let's break down each one.
First up, as the subject. In this sentence, what's the main idea? It's the act of cooking. What saves money? Cooking at home does. The gerund is leading the sentence just like any other noun would. It's the same structure as saying, my car is blue, or the dog is loud.
Okay, next up, the object. Now, there are certain verbs in English, like enjoy, avoid, suggest, finish, that just love to be followed by a gerund. It's like they're best friends. So what does she enjoy? She enjoys dancing. See? Dancing is the thing that she enjoys. It's the object of the verb enjoys.
And right here, this is one of the golden rules of English grammar. If you have a verb that comes directly after a preposition, and we're talking about words like in, at, of, about, without, that verb has to be a gerund. It's not a suggestion, it's a rule. He's interested in what? He's interested in learning.
All right, let's move on to section 3, and I want you to pay close attention here, because this is probably the most crucial part of this whole explainer. We are going to clear up the number one thing that trips people up.
So, here's the big secret. Not every single word that ends in ing is a gerund. Sometimes it's a present participle, and it does a totally different job. Take a look. When we say reading is fun, reading is the name of an activity. It's a noun. That's our gerund. But when we say she is reading, that's part of a verb. It's an action happening now. And in the running water, it's actually an adjective describing the water. So here's your trick. Just ask yourself, is this word naming an activity? If the answer is yes, you've got a gerund. And once you get that, fixing these common mistakes becomes so much easier. You wouldn't say, I enjoy to swim, because as we saw, the verb enjoy needs a gerund object, so it's, I enjoy swimming. Same thing with suggest. And you wouldn't say, good in sing, because at is a preposition, and we know what comes after a preposition, right? A gerund. She is good at singing. Seeing them side by side like this really makes the correct way click. And that brings us to our final section. Let's put all this grammar stuff together and connect it to our main goal, which is to sound more natural, more fluent, basically more like a native speaker.
You know, native speakers use gerunds in these fixed phrases all the time, and we don't even think about it. We just say them. Things like, it's worth trying, or there's no avoiding it, or I can't help laughing. When you start dropping these into your conversations, you're doing more than just using correct grammar. You're actually using the natural rhythm and music of English. It makes such a huge difference.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Gerunds aren't just some boring rule you have to memorize. They're a fantastic tool. They let us talk clearly and efficiently about our hobbies, what we like, what we don't like, and even big ideas.
So, if you only remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. Getting comfortable with gerunds isn't about passing a grammar test. It's about unlocking a whole new level of English that sounds more sophisticated and just more natural. It really is a game changer. So, to put this into practice right now, I've got a question for you, and I want you to try answering it with a gerund. What is something you enjoy doing? Think about it. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep practicing.